Various type of foldable chair. One was the Rajasthani chair and the other was Egyptian chair. The two mixture of Indian hint plus giving also a hint of international hint, means like an Egyptian hint. We designed this chair.
So we demonstrate the case studies like how to they taking the concept. So basically, so the Egyptian, the invented, the stool was invented which was foldable. Like the royal people used to use the chair for sitting, but the concept foldable was with the stool. But we designed the chair with the concept. So it was introduced in the 1500 2000 BC. So the style was all foldable and the material used was the leather and the wood, like the only the and the paintings like the very wood, so that we use the royalty. And so we did the case study. So the process was we use the like the two lateral export two lateral folds were used so that it can be foldable. So this was the only concept and only the drawings were used like the motorized drawing. And so we studied the details like what the parts of every Egyptian chair and the tools which were used like during the motorized welding was just the two doors and the one handrail which was rotating which came up like the wheel was frame. And then like now the we studied about the welding chair which is like the many foldable chairs are available. The lightest like the only the wood and the fabric was used. So we came with that. So next week started designing our chair with keeping that concept.
The foldable chair, we wanted a user space for them. So the users were kids as well as adults. And within the were able to use it it was a constraint for us that we were not going to attend a certain height. So we keep the height as 40 centimeters from the ground level. And so basically the height of the chair is 40 centimeters, which means good for kids as well as good for adults. And the situation which we wanted to create and also the purpose for it was like the weight management was one of the most important tasks over here. When we designed a foldable chair, there was a weight constraint that the furniture shouldn't be more than 10 kgs, as it is not good to means one can't carry a 10 kg or it's like more than 10 kg. So our chair is 5 kg and coming to the weight again, the weight load which the chair should take should be at least 70 kgs, which is going to 80 kgs and 90 kgs. We have just tried and tested on it. And the material basically we used is the hinges for holding this thing and the pivot joints which we can hold. And there are four chains which we have given a support so that the chair couldn't shake.
So for stability, we have just fixed like the it was swinging. So just for the stability, so it can so the line can be folded and then the two like the for the cross can be made. Then for the hook stability.
So this is the whole folded version of the chair, so one can easily carry it and just keep it in their car and everything. It's like just a small area. So this chair will just take a small piece in your respective living room or your bedroom and all. So we started with the drafting process. The first process was drafting, and then we cutted the whole knife, and over here, over this box, we gave it a dotted joint. So that only means it is totally secured, and by only one side it can be removed. So if any person above means like 80 or 90 kgs sit, then this won't break. And the other all things for by the other means like pivoted joints, is the other company was a pivoted joint and other hooking joint. And the other materials which we use were drill machine, grinder, hammer, hacksaw, and the right angled. So these are some presses in it. Those are drafting and cutting mechanism which we at that time. And this was the previous types of joints which we used. So, but yeah, this is that alternative joint which I showed you. And this is the whole photography of our product, which is tool as well as the foldable thing and a chair.
So coming next the construction analysis, like how we have to tabulate the engineering matter. So accordingly, we have done so that we have added the books that help to answer the main concept is that to make a movable chair, and it is also foldable. So it is easy to transport from places to places, and it is also lightweight. Yes, sir. Actually, this particular motion is comfortable because
This was for
उसका मंगला है उसके लिए लगा
detailing could have been explored further because whatever material they were using, they
Yes, nice attempt. Something unusual. Yeah. So actually, you have created a context that should be good for kids. So 40 centimeters one.
this is for all of you. This is for all of you.
Why there is private discussions happening?
Whoever's not interested can work.
I want everybody have one person on one chair. If you do not have chairs, there are extra chairs on this side. Please move. No two people will sit on one place. Kunal बाहर आ जाओ.
Yeah, actually, crosstalk makes it difficult for us to hear what they are saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so one is the economic aspect you have to look at. Second thing is the scale. If it is for a child, then it need not be so big. This is, I think, even bigger than a child, bigger than for an adult. The seat width is quite huge. So you have to correctly scale it. Like what sir said, detailing and making it comfortable because right now this may not be very comfortable. And also, this rod can have a seat over it so that kind of a sleeve which will go and make it easier for you to handle it. You have to carry from here in the car. So these aspects you have to look at. My major concern was when you open it. I think that portion is uncomfortable. You might get a feeling that you might get caught, particularly for a child. Children are very tiny sometimes, so they might get hurt or get caught into that cutout. So you have to see what is that minimum cutout.
One important thing they forgot to tell you was that there's supposed to be a travel pouch which is attached from the beginning, which is not what they have made here. So it basically kind of cushions the area, which is not, it's like an inflated bag, which is all.
And perhaps you have to create some kind of a thing cover over it so that you don't get hurt by those cutters. It can be a carry. For carrying it as well as a bit of a upholstery, minimum upholstery, which can help you to make it comfortable. Okay. Another aspect like with staff pages, so that we get everything you also have. You have to think in terms of smoothing or that goes into the part of it. But even if you observe, okay, after having done a prototype, you observe it, and you can just sketch it on top, okay, that I need to round it. So prototype becomes a part of design development exercise that you can experience it and then you can go further. What next on it can be done.
Was part of the supposed exercise which they have not been able to complete. And they have to take a post-design analysis of what they have made. Where are the failure points that have to be understood and kind of drawn. So that part is remaining, which I am sure they will kind of finish.
Where I'm going to be active. It's not very accurate because the signaling sensitivity or this taking a accurate. So this was something which forced upfront and then what happened in our
So that Pavan study that you have tried, that is the main thing. If it was sitting on it, it may come off from the it may not break, but that may come off from the fixing. Get those, what are the weak links, what are the areas of improvement that you can add on. Okay.
Yes. we have decided to design a chair which will be like a ladder. The name itself says that it is a chair plus ladder. So we are starting with we started with what is the history of furniture, and then we went into what are the types of furniture and the history included in them. Then we decided to make a fusion of Renaissance period and the modern period, and how we created a domain where the domain included where the aesthetic and whether it is environment friendly or whether it can be eco-friendly, it can be whether used by all users or how can we refine the idea. Where we decided to create some design criticism where we created alternative for creating a mentor. So we created five alternatives. In the first, we saw that it was like more boxy type, and then the second, we saw that the waves or the light that were not enough flow, and in the third, we found that it would break if the load is applied from the center. In the fourth, we also found out that, and then in the fifth, we decided that means it would better be means it would carry out the load over human. So we continued with our fifth design. Then we decided we started with our working process, and in the working process we found who will be the user. Basically, the user will be like 60 to 70 kgs who have weight, and then in the environment friendly, if I say we'll be using packaging, may we'll be using materials that will say no to plastic. Then in the joinery we use mortise and tenon joint. Then we decided the dimension that is length is 18 inches and height is 36 inches and width is also 18 inches. And the principle of design used are rhythm, balance, symmetry and movement. And in the function we decided that it is used for an hydrate purpose. So it would be like a ladder and a chair as well. In the aesthetic part, we decided that it should be like used for everyone. So we created something that would not hurt for the children or also for the senior citizens. Then we specified various materials which are being used to make this chair. Then the procedures are mentioned, and for working further, we found that there will be some issues like it is for only for it can carry the load for 60 to 70 kgs person only. So we decided that if would have if instead of using iron rods, we would have used the wooden rods. So the threading of the rod did not hurt the person sitting on it. And instead of using 1.4 inches ka ply, we would have used 3.7 inches ka ply. So while designing, we found that while testing, the one member was being broken. So because of the load applied, so we have to create again a new member for it. So that would be a drawback. Then in the
Okay, no problem. No problem.
All the furnitures were made from one particular material. They were not restricted with material, they could have thought of. So basically, this one and this one chairs, which has made as a concept, where the concept was taken as multi-fold and it can be carryable easily. So these three furnitures were based on that. These two furnitures were like they had taken a luxury as a base, and this people had taken something like a reading chair. So the books can be stacked and it can be in one place stored at one place in the house and can be used as that particular way. So if you rotate the chair, it has been given a shelf at the base and the things can be stacked. While using if you have anything extra along with that, that can be taken. And the last chair was cantilever chair. So that was the things to go to. So it was
designed with the concept of being cantilever, and the supports are all basic blocks which has been taken. It is the uniform blocks which has been taken for the complete chair, and how it can fold and can give us a different chair types. So they had worked out a lot of chair modifiers. So they had taken it like in a squarish form, like a stool, like a chair. It can be molded. So that was the basic concept which they had taken for the making chair.
Very interesting. This could become a ladder. The idea was
So
to
this
use
one was
a single member which can use in a. Fortunately, we did not have the right material. These chairs could have been better with could have been completed with different joinery types.
There is a nice this thing product available which can fold and they do the same like they can use that as a case.
Sir, we have to just move the visor and the hole. So
That one you can stand only on that.
yeah. This is actually it can fold, so it can remove. It can be removed from it. Right now it is the nuts are tight.
Correct.
You need to loosen the this thing, and it can be easily carryable as a lens.
The other knots are actually fixed here, but the other way, I mean, they could have
they would have
moved with some other detail.
Yeah, interesting. Even that's a very interesting product. Very interesting. Yeah, good.
of the material of the cloth, the aesthetic and the functions that it provides. After doing the market study, we tried to categorize where we want our cloth to be. So this was the market study. Next slide. So we as we decided to make it in an art studio, we set some parameters like it should be interactive, like people coming to a studio will see the product and will interact with that and it is also should be aesthetically pleasing so that in art should be also like it should be aesthetically pleasing and the poster painting was also one of the parameters that we came to. And we started with some very sketches like we thought of placing on the shelf around the block so that we can put some sculpture or some paintbrush or something like that and then we came up with the wire mesh type of thing that can be molded into any form. But then we were facing for trouble with the multifunctionality of the block, like placing the display art canvases on the wall. So we made some modules, like we use the modules and we full size so we try to compose a composition out of three and we finally got to a conclusion and it is also making a contrast like a circle. So then the time should also be a feature of that spot and the main feature of the spot. So since we were to take inspiration from some era, so we tried to go with modern art. And we were, as we were going through artists, he came across artist Pete Content, and his artworks was something that really went with what we wanted to create. So we used his philosophy of colors, like the primary colors and lines, and that is how we came up with this composition. This was the final outcome of the club, and the features that we included in it were softboard, where one could put up their canvases after they're done painting, or any other pictures or anything. Shelves for miniature sculptures, which would be made in the studio, and even if the clock was not being used, if there wasn't anything being hung on it, it would still serve as an art piece. So this was the final product. Next.
we for the material we also came up with the like we tried to make it with a metal which is like a purity to the design using the but after doing some market study it was going out of the budget so we came up with the MDF and we did all the framework with the MDF and then the soft board with the top board and the cotton rods on it.
The working drawings, and this is one presentation of it, like how it would look with all the paintings on it. And yes, and this is just the block beginning and artpiece, the center of attraction of it. And this will
Yeah, it's very nice actually in a product. One thing to decide about the person for whom we are designing a product. When it comes out, execution the good state, it's very good. Appropriate for the so that works. So self idea again is okay for a small let's say. Yeah, a small miniature model. Other combinations. Self clear again for the side. Supports are not really. Yeah, the for the packaging also like we can also remove the shells and all.
yeah, these are detachable. So it becomes compact.
Compact and for the easy to give it to the client.
And we did the costing, so with 30% profit, which we had for us, it would amount up to 4,000. The initial cost for making it is 2,500. So,
Shells are removed.
no, not now, but we can.
Yeah, that is difficult. That detail because you have to find for a product packaging also involved. It was that factor. Otherwise, the packaging will become very
Hello everyone, my name is Sonal and this is Nisha. Today we are going to present the design of our blog which we did for our elective. The basic thought. So we started with a market study where we explored various types of clocks that were available in the market. Some of the clocks that we liked were some minimalist, easy to read clocks, some with intricate design, and also multifunctional, which was a part of the field, and some dynamic clocks. We did the mapping of the market study that we did, and we divided the clock into some were stationary, some were minimalist, dynamic, and multifunctional. In multifunctional, most of the clocks had light behind it so that it can act as a lamp, and some of them had storage property. So the philosophy for a clock was to include everyone, especially little children and older people, as they find it as they sometimes find it hard to read a clock, and also minimalist and multi-purpose. So the problem with children is that they find it hard to understand the clock. The clock can be very confusing for them to read. For older children, as during a class, it can be difficult for them to divert their attention back to back from the clock towards the page. Their eyesight gets weak, so it gets difficult for them to read an analog as well as a traditional clock. To tackle this problem, we decided to divide the large area of a clock into two parts and focus on the hour part and the minute. We had two ideas for that: either use a fan and have a more dynamic approach towards the clock, or to divide the uh, clock into two parts, where one circle would show the hour time and the second circle would show the minute time. These are some of the rough sketches that we came up with during the start of the process. So we further proceed to process model. Yeah, so first one we did it. The issue was like we first raised the outer it was a minute hand and inner one is the hour hand. But due to some machine issue, we have to change and we did the minute hand out the ring and the hour hand in the inner one. And we even tried and we even tried doing on the watch get the rings and the plants and the circle are working or not. These are some of the working drawings. Yeah, so we even did a paper work of proportionate scale, a paper model also, and we even tried it and it was working the way we want. So here is the magnet ring. It's the ring which shows the R hand, and this one is for the magnet one. Yeah, and it also has the light connections, light fittings. So it can also act as a lamp as a multi-purpose. So these are some of the process images. We started by installing the light fittings and then fitting the rings. Here the one here it is connected to a middle. It is the ring is connected to a plastic sheet in middle to hold the R shaft to like so that it can be holdable by the R shaft. And the second one for the minute ring and this is how we install it on the wall. So this is the mood board. The material we selected were plywood, laminate sheet, paper and plastic sheet. And these are some three color palettes for different ages. This is for the middle age school, for schools, offices and homes. And this for the old age people and this for the daycares. And here are the different clocks, colors and this is the way the color palettes will show. So here are the 2D drawings. Yeah, the diameter of the clock is 400 mm. This is extruded view. The ring is connected with the plastic sheet in middle and the holes up. And this is the minute sheet and the second. Here are some of the views. And we even asked one little girl to read the clock, and she was like, it was for her it was easy to read it because I asked why what the reason she was able to read it. She was like, we got the quick time on it. Like this is the hour. She perfectly told it is 5:20. This is and I asked what's the reason you can't read at home. She told like it's like too confusing. I have to use my brain and then read understand the clock. It's easier for her to understand the clock.
It's a very good effort to combine both the digital and the analog as this thing, model of law. Yeah.
Actually, for children, it is difficult to understand analogous system because to decipher what it means, how to connect the minutes and the location of the minute. And that's a tricky part. Yeah. So, only thing is that when you mentioned elderly, the minute part, actually, if you look at it, it's very difficult to read from a distance. You have to look at the location of the clock on a wall, and typically from what distance we will be observing it. Typical residence, I would say, if you are targeting that as a persona, both as young children and adults or elderly. So I think the minute part will be a little difficult to decipher. Also from this angle, I cannot see. I have to come, in front of the same clock to get that exact figure. Also, what will happen is the hour part of it, you have a single digit, except when it goes to 10, 11, 12. Right? So perhaps that cutout could have been smaller. Vis-a-vis the minutes, you have a larger thing to depict. So there, the cutout could have been larger. So that again, proportions and all you have to see as to how it looks like. But I think that aspect, that is the ergonomical aspect of it, from what distance I can read a particular height of a letter, which is very important in case of legibility. So that's the thing, very important thing. Otherwise, it's a nice effort and nice way of going to the basics, and you can, of course, do the detailing. The double layer that you have done is for the LED strip.
Yeah, that's
That's it.
yeah.
I think there again, I think you have to look at the detailing carefully. Maybe you can cover it with a this thing. There's something called as fighting of light to acrylic. Acrylic has a property that it can fight the light. So if you did not use this thing, multiple LEDs, you can create a acrylic as a disc, and the single source can give us light. You will get a more uniform light. What is happening in LED is that you get those dots. No? Instead of that, you can get continuously look at that. Okay, good efforts. Got it. Next.
We also had a second project for the second week, second module. Yes. We had to design a system for hawkers and street vendors where they could easily access it, as well as it wouldn't prove as a hassle for other people as well to use the. So we first did a study on the types of hawkers and what are the problems that they face and what problems are caused by them. So hawkers, a modern street vending, it plays a vital role in our economy. It provides jobs. Also, it is very convenient for other people to buy things. They also provide goods at affordable prices, and they are usually available at convenient locations like outside a railway station or a garden. Next. So the problems that people face are that the payments are usually not good. There's drainage problem. Also, it causes traffic and congestion. There are no parking spaces or no space for walking. Hawkers also, as they carry things, they get neck pain, head pain, back pain, and yeah, next slide.
So these are some of the issues which we upon. So first one is the learning part. This temporary so that is the street part is the foreign countries. And this made primarily of good markets and rescue nets, etc. So this part can be moved around and the owner can take it within after his work. The second one that is designed. This was designed design is inspired by the snail stairs. The snail drags itself, drags the shell behind it. So the trailer can also take the backpack, which is a cocoon-like shape, behind him, and whenever he wants to travel or something, he can pull it out and sleep in that cocoon. And this one is a shelter and a cart, which is also similar to the cocoon-like design. So one can carry itself, which is very roomy to sleep and also small to climb.
And this is the fourth one. The design is also inspired by similarly, and the smell opens up its shell. So this is similar way when this stall opens up some cracks. It opens up some of the cracks, and then people can use it as a storage or for selling as well. So this was also inspired by this smell.
So these are some other examples of convertible study tables and also travel bag. The first one initially students study on, and the second one is used by women to take even to take their baby with them and want to change their diapers or stuff, they can do it in this travel bag. So these are some other examples of convertible so this one is the picnic bag and the second one is the baby bag. So the baby bag card is something it's a baby girdle usually itself and kept in the section.
So after doing case studies, the next step was mapping. So we divided into four parameters that were movable, stationary, big, and small. And after that, we started placing the case studies their categories. There. So these are some of the case studies which we place in movable and big. And there are also small and it is movable, carryable. These are movable plus small. It can be carried, and these are big enough, and it's and so storage and transportation storage. It's like how furniture can be used as a storage also, and it's for how transportation can be carried by. This was for luxury performance. And this is like it's very luxurious and it can be easily foldable and without performance and economic wise without. So we came up with some ideas. These were the initial sketches. That one is for people around, so they can carry it on their back. This one is for vegetable vendors, and that's a suitcase that can open up and close. And these were some of the types of vendors that we studied. Yeah, so this is what we were deciding on. We would have a box that would go underground and come out and be used as a bench. And if there are vendors or hawkers, there can be foldable shelves inside it that can be manually assembled by them and used by the vendors to sell their products like this. So it can be used as a display area as well as a bench. These are some of the two designs that I mentioned. So that one is done the racks are pulled out of the ground. And we are also provided a sitting so that vendor can sit on them and they can it can act as a counter. This is these both are the animations associated to it. And this is when the complete sitting and the racks are open with the animations. These are some of the things. The height of the whole thing is not more than a person, so that it can be easily reached. Uh, so the vendor can easily access the whole thing, and the bench is as per how people can sit on it. There's a video. So the whole thing will be assembled at the vendor and he can use it. And the material selected for this project was cement sheet and the mild steel with auto. So we have to work on this further on the next module, the next year.
So you're not done a prototype for it.
No,
Just at the yeah, few aspects of this. Again, I think the scale and dimension you have to work out as to what is easily carried can be carried by a single person. From that point of view, the weight and dimension will play an important role. Are you also going to store the goods inside, or only the
no,
only the display framework?
uh, it's a shelf which is like after vendors, like after vendors are over, like they can put the box under the ground and cover it. Or it can be used as a bench after they use it and they lock it, or they can put it under the ground.
Yeah, under the ground has both possibilities. It's a good idea that okay, then the after the wedding hours, the space is available for people to. But in Indian context, I carrying away or locking it in place, and then it becoming something that's for.
No, sir, it's like it is here on this.
So basically, what happens is it can be locked because
Yeah.
there is a that the water aspects are there. You should be able to lock it in place. One more problem the vendors face is that they are mostly unauthorized. They are not officially paying for it. So many times when the municipal vehicle comes, quickly gathering whatever they have and running away, or taking it to a benevolent neighbor or a shop is a concern many times. It should be, if you are catering to that person, there are two aspects. One is that it's a vending area and then officially you can do vending. Then they will have a place where they can store it. Only thing is that then you have to create a protective environment where it's not being used. Second is the impromptu or unauthorized vending. In that case, it should be able to take it away or keep it in such a place that it doesn't become a issue or a thing to be taken away. That you might have noticed that the municipal vehicle comes and then they put everything in that vehicle and take away, or then people run away with whatever they have. So in Indian context, that's the scenario for vending. So if you're addressing that, then you have to make it very easy to pack up and run.
Actually, they were planning this for existing market area, like,
Okay.
like they had showed me an area in Shivaji Park, which is being marketed for, yes, authorized. So we were hoping that vandalism, I mean, it's still an issue, but still maybe to an extent less.
Yeah, I think becoming something as like a bench and it is locked. It can still be a this.
Exactly.
Somebody can use it. So you have to decide the scale of it, whether it can should be or can be used for sleeping or sitting. So that we have to look at we want to address that secondary use of that product.
Actually, for this project, we fell a little short of time
I
in
know
the
it's
second
a
one.
thing. Sometimes it can become a whole thesis
Yes.
project for a postgrad level also.
Exactly.
It's good that you are addressing issues and then what happens is that we become sensitive to how people use spaces and products and services. how that whole firmware gets into action and deactivate. I think this building the sensitivity is useful in many design areas. Like we need not segregate things as on design or furniture design or architecture. You can scale that up into different, different scale. Every this thing, every design has a different scale. So you can use these concepts in architecture. Or you can use this in a small project. So basically, it keeps your give you the aspects of design thinking which is being talked about so and the interface. How it interfaces with the users, the owner as well as the buyers of the goods from them. It's owning those skills to understand how people use products and spaces and it has an afterlife, what happens after or they have a active this thing, daylight and night. You can think in terms of those aspects. Good.
Actually, there were two more projects we wanted to quickly show you.
Yeah, if you have the time in the other
It
room.
just we will not go through the
Sure.
presentation. We'll just show you what they have done.
Sure. It's also with the clock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, this is Hinkle and this is Hinkle and this is Haley and we love to make a multi-use clock which is using the principle of minimalism. So we decided to keep it achromatic using acrylic and plywood for the purpose of keeping shelves but which are incorporated by the numbers of the clock, like 3, 6, and 9, which are incorporated as shells, which can be used to keep small things or even showcases. But the problems arose was the problem of keeping models or small day-to-day things which are associated with the clock. Like whenever we go out, we forget something, so we can keep it here, or it can also be used as a display along
It's a nice idea. Actually, many times 9 to 6 is considered to be the working hours, right? 6 to 7 kind of activity. So I think perhaps you could have done away with 3. So there is some amount of visual balance the issue with 3. Otherwise, you have to change the proportions of that, of the location of it. Because 9, 6 are falling perfectly at the 9 and 6 position. Perhaps if you take the middle section in the same center, the centering of the perhaps you can change and see how it looks like. Also, you can look at the depth. Because when you look at what are the probable things you will be storing there, do we need that depth or should we reduce it? Are we going to use those things for storing books? So you have to do that this thing role play and see what products will go there. You can actually keep those products and visualize and see what should be that scale in terms of depth. That's a very good effort and I think we can develop it. It can become sellable product also. One aspect you have to see is how you will change the battery and that clock we can.
we had created a niche and then we fixed it.
That aspect you have to see how a popular different person will be able to remove and remake their mechanism in the battery. Three.
I am Advait and it was a good project. I am Vikrant, but Vikrant is not there today. So the
Advait, I
concept
can.
behind this clock was to design a clock which can show the phases of the moon as well as all the Marathi months like Chaitra, Vaishakh, Jyesht. So people have lot of confusion regarding the Tithis. So this what will help people to know the Tithis. Like people won't need to look at the calendar to get the Tithis. Just looking at the clock, the people can get to know about the phases of the moon. So we can rotate this according to the phase of the moon. Like which phase of the moon is so the month.
That's actually done manually.
Uh, Ma'am, sir, actually, we were not able to track the mechanism behind that because after one complete, two complete rotations of the clock, then one phase of the moon will be shifted. So that mechanism we were not able to figure out.
So on that algorithm,
Advait,
whether it is
uh,
shifted from the,
sir, in the PPT, we have created that yes,
okay,
which can
formation of the design, 28-day cycle plus the regular month cycle vis-a-vis your clock. I think that interlinkage your concept.
Actually, that's their
Okay.
they have done the mathematics and all that was
sir,
worked
the
out.
mechanism
But
is
I think we took time for the mechanism itself. We just need that road to be slightly bigger in size,
Okay.
which is where
also,
it gives more
sir,
information.
and also the motor speed we needed is the speed we need is very low and the power we needed is low. So that type of motor is not available. So that's the reason it is we need to do this
So the interlinkage of a 24-hour day or a 12-hour clock versus the lunar calendar. You correct that?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Actually, it's there in the presentation, but we said we had a
Yeah, it's
limitation.
interesting.
In fact, so every 24 hours it moves by 6.1 degrees. This is how we have calculated it.
Then that we have the running mass current.
I don't think we have
That's
reached
it.
that yet.
Yeah, or the leap year
Ah.
in English is thing, or in Indian calendar is the running mass.
So actually what labor working is 29 days.
Ah.
So that that we've taken to work out with the calculations. So maybe not absolutely accurate, but I guess with more time. And there's just one more project which is bathrooms late हो जाता है या फिर anything happens like it happens a lot so we miss the train and everything there goes late so for that we designed the watch in such a way that it would have a mirror and it would also have a light and then it will be a clock also we don't wanted to increase the objects in the bathroom because bathroom is already clustered with a lot of objects the bathtub the shower and the basin so what we did, we just added the clock to the mirror so that it will not disturb the aesthetic of the bathroom and it will also be a multifunctional. So in our case, there is a clock, there is a mirror and then there is a light. So the main idea is to use the material as mirror as because we don't want it to become our watch boring after so many days. So as mirror is one of the most attractive material. They can come and they can see the time as well as they can see their faces as well. So this was the idea. We also had this process model. So this was, so for example, this was the mirror, and this we were thinking of giving the long hands to this. So, this is the minimalistic, and this is dynamic. So the main problem for this model was when this is from the back side. So when this hands will rotate, there comes a hook. Like after 11, due to hook, this hands will not be able to pass. So that was the main problem, which is where which they thought this idea, and this is the multifunctional watch.
Good idea. Yeah. So we can keep a tab in the bathroom.
Yes.
Nowadays, I think mobile
Exactly.
it is there.
Good afternoon, sir. I would like to start with the presentation of the bamboo workshop. So the workshop was conducted by architect Ritika Kirskar and his associate architect Lalit. So we started with a 10-day workshop by getting to know the material. As architectural students and as almost COVID babies, we did not know much about hands-on experiences. And so that's why this was our second workshop, like at least for my batch, this is the second workshop with bamboo. So as the workshop started, we dived into the basics of bamboo, right from the parts of bamboo and to the species. We can go to the next slide. So the compilation holds the whole compilation of the workshop of the activities that we did through the workshop. So initially we were distributed on the group of two. So in two groups we had 7 and 8 people each, and in that we made two installations which are on display on the classroom. And later we were distributed on the group of 3 people, and on those groups we did the bamboo research analysis and the case study analysis. So these are the case studies. This is Team Stocksy, and this is the case study of Sharma Springs. We can go to the next slide. So this was our model. We tried to mimic the columns and the joineries of the columns and the beams in the structure itself, and then we tried to also understand how the joinery work in the case study. Our takeaways were mostly about how bamboo as a material is so versatile that it was able to make right from the structural elements to the furniture also. So it really wasn't anything that bamboo couldn't do or couldn't bend into. So next we have the case study. Yeah, I think this can explain the case study. So this case study was my team done, and we are a case study of Desi Center, and this is the making school by Anna Harrison. So the major takeaways from these case studies are the joineries, the how the like we also made a model. In this model we have showed how the 3 bamboos were with the space that they have how they have tied and they have made the facade with the weaving of the bamboo. These were the major takeaways, and we also detailed out and sketched out the major details which were highlighted in both the structures. Next. Next. Next.
So this was the case study from our the Panet school. So what we inferred that it followed a Buttress system, the palm Buttress system with the repetition principle. And some of the blue sketches were with the element that we followed into the structure. We followed the exploded view, the wall beam joinery and the roof detail, and the joinery of the foundation.
So initially the takeaway from this study was the bamboos are joined, the are joined to the space frame that is made from this bamboo. Now they are tied together. So that was one of the applications that we did, and how bamboo can be used in a layered way to make the structure. And these are some of the photos of the model where we have tried to represent the truss system and how they were joined to each other using these ways.
So this is the wedding carpet by Indian architects. In this case study, we learned about the joinery. They basically used the bundle systems and the lashing system.
So for the whole case study was so the case study that we studied, we divided the case study into two parts, that is fluid design and the solid design. So in fluid design we did the case study on the structure in Zambia and by the architect China, and the case study is found in Thailand. So the best thing that we inferred from this case study the numbers. So what we studied from this case study was how they included fluidity
in their old design. And the best thing about the structure is like they have modern roofing. Also, the art piece that we have installed now, it that has some fluidity in it. So we learned how to incorporate the fluidity. Also, the use of materials as a bamboo is very efficient and mostly using flexible designs. So its flexibility was also being used, and all the materials and the techniques which were used in the structure are also used in our.
Next, we go to the analysis of the research papers. There were five research papers allotted to the groups of three, and then we made infographics on the basis of that. So, this research paper had the overall basic structure of bamboo and how the joinery and how the whole structure works. So, even as the plant, there is the sketch which explains about how different parts of bamboos are uh, are there and how they are used in the structures. So in this thesis, the paper was given that bamboo is represent a basic bio-based construction material, and this we have around 1,200 species of bamboo, in which 220 species are mostly considered for construction purpose, in which the dendrochlosis is as per and most of bamboo are used more important to use, and which has a diameter of 10 to 18 centimeters, and the height of the bamboo ranges from 12 to 20 centimeters. And most basic, the five are the most basic construction from the bamboo, like bamboo mats are used, bamboo cones, new laminated bamboos, flattened bamboos, and we have got the process how this flattened laminated bamboo are produced, and we got that the environmental impact of this process are more like for the process in new laminated bamboo, the production of this bamboo requires has a more environmental impact than the bamboo poles. Like it has bamboo poles require only the trees. We cut the bamboo poles and then we just treat them. But in new laminated bamboo, we use much amount of energy and electricity is used in that production, and it has more energy like on press and all energy is required.
Has the same material and a construction material. So how can we replace in fact instead of just using computer tools, we can use government as an alternative material. We can use the advantages like it's a renewable source. It has good stiffness and density ratios. It's alternative to many other materials. And then a lot of furniture is made out of different bamboo. Like the wood products have later quantity than deforestation bamboo, and then the strength of bamboo compared to different strengths of bamboo.
So our topic for the report analysis was the comparison between the natural and chemical bamboo treatment. So basically, we saw the method that was used in natural treatment, that is the tobacco water treatment. But some of the methods that were put into action were recently put into action was the smoke treatment, which helps to kill the pesticide and bacterial property of the bamboo. Washing of bamboo, which provides a smooth surface to the bamboo. And then the air treatment, which helps to reduce the moisture content in the bamboo. So coming to the chemical treatment of the bamboo, like listed some of these are the materials that are used for the chemical treatment, that is the borax, boric acid, and the CCB. So in order to treat the bamboo from borax, the bamboo is cut from the side and then it is soaked in the solution for 5 days, resulting in the 60% preservation. And below that are some of the diagrammatical representations of how the process is done.
So, our team did a research on the species called as Tulpa, and it comes under the species of Bambusa. And this species is a dominant species in India, and mostly it is used in construction. It is also used in it has multiple uses, and it is also used in musical instruments. Bambusa tulpa is actually an Indian and an Indonesian species, and it has dull green color and reaches up to the height of 6 to 23 meters. It has a diameter of 30 to 60 centimeters and a wall thickness of 3.2 centimeters. So basically, depending upon the wall thickness and also the node and the internode height,
it defines whether the bamboo is flexible enough or not. So because of this species in qualitiness, it has good flexibility.
We have the proposal for the carbon plantation proposal. So this was a letter which was written to our principal by James Coxey, and in here we have written about how versatile bamboo is and why we should be use bamboo as a pinprick around our college for the palm tree plantations. So further we have also explained the advantages of bamboo, comparing it to timber, and moving ahead we have also attached the plan and proposed species for the plantation. So, according to us, the Elective strictest, which is commonly found in Maharashtra, and also which is available. So, we are planning to plant a 2 feet tall plant in the green areas, which is marked on the map, and also we kind of reimagine our college boundary with the bamboo. So, that's a small illustration from my end. Going ahead, we as a bigger exercise. So as a bigger exercise, we map the different species of bamboos throughout the states of India. The two teams, which was Team Gigantes and Team Balboa, were given the eastern and the western side. My team was mapping the western states of India, and this is our Excel sheet that we created at the end of the exercise. And later we created a infographic out of this exercise that we had. So basically, in the first, like coming ahead from the first state, that's Jammu and Kashmir, we saw that 40% of Jammu and Kashmir is bamboo plantation, dividing it by the total geographic area. And the most prominent species there was bamboo tulda. We also mapped the specifications of the species along with the climate, the soil, and the uses, prominently the uses of bamboo tulda in Jammu and Kashmir. So we can go ahead. In Gujarat, we found that there were two species, Dendrochalamus strictus, and there was also 20% of bamboo plantation in Gujarat. So we have the deer forest, and around that region we have the bamboo plantation also. So coming to Maharashtra, Maharashtra was the state with the most diversity in bamboo species. We have 13 species coming from the state of Maharashtra as comparison to one or two species prominently found in other states. So we have bamboo satulda again, which is primarily found in Maharashtra and it is used for various construction like huts, mats and baskets. Furthermore, we have Bambusa balpua, then clams asper, Bambusa bambus, and Hamiltoni corpulus. So there's also more slides of the different species of bamboo that is found in our state. So, in the state of Goa, it being a small region of 3,700 square meters, it still has 382 square meters of bamboo plantation, which accounts to 11% of its land, as compared to other states who have less than 1% of bamboo plantation. The states like Haryana, Rajasthan, and the upper states, they have less than 1% of plantation despite having the suitable conditions for growing bamboo. So, according to our analysis, it is probably because the awareness regarding bamboo plantation is not there in these states. Also, the states are actually more prominent in other crops like wheat, rice, and other staple diet crops. So we further marked the southern states of the western India also. We found that Dendrochalamus strictus was more prominent in the southern India. So these are again the species that were mapped in the analysis. And so yeah, our overall analysis was that the Dendrochalamus strictus is prominent in the southern states and Bandholda is prominent in the northern states. So this was
Direction.
yes.
Any places you mentioned square, it should be square.
Yes. Yes. So after we did the analysis of the of the western side, we took these analysis into our design process, and this was we're going to be analyzing our design.
Yeah, it was the third that was designed by the team direction. It's a thinking board that was designed by the team direction. Coming to the team direction, it was inspired by the bamboo species in Tucanambi direction. It's a Vira, it's a with this name which means energy. And the reason we named the thinking for as Vira is because we want the people who come here to receive positive energy whenever they reside. So our team name was gigantic. So in fact we had an idea of making a gigantic structure. So then clubbing the idea, we thought of a thinking board which can give a creative environment sitting underneath. And these were the sketches compiled, and everyone like thought it could be the principles incorporated of architecture. Like and then it was like we created a full mesh of split bamboo. Firstly, the process was started like first we actually incorporated within the site. Our site was a cube, which was like a frame structure of plywood, and then it would be the second aspect, the chaotic rhythm of bamboos. So after that, we thought like thinking out of the cube. So we actually mesh of splitted bamboo and covered the cube with.
So after that, we merged these two ideas about how we could think the forming with the whole bamboo mesh. So this is the concept model we had tried. This one. So this first we undertook the frame, and then we incorporated the mesh outside it supporting the frame. But then we realized that the structure is whole self-standing. Without the frame, it could have gained that shape. So we then these were the pictures of this model. How we tried in a small scale. So these were this is the main working drawing of the project which we have made now.
This was the main model of the site. The site was a cube, which is like on the strip. But then later, when during the process, we realized that it was a freestanding structure. So we actually removed the cube and let the bamboo self-sustain in that place. So this is the making of bamboo. So eventually, it was a circular one, with an entry at the entry on both the sides. So, and then we created a semicircle one. We actually, to strengthen the split bamboos, we created diagonal frames which are like running in the opposite directions. After this, if you can see here, the semicircular ones, these are two bamboos, which are two split bamboos. And the frame structure, which is the diagonal one, it is actually fitted between the two bamboos. So, and it is binded with the binding. First, we actually used a sutali, then for strengthening, we use binding wire. So, and then after the frame structure was completed, we actually started weaving the split bamboos from one direction to the other and making it more dense and strong.
These are some of the drawings of the model which is made. So we also have incorporated some games and some participative kind of elements in our board. So that would be the games.
So as you can see over here, there's a game situated. So we wanted it to be more interactive as well. So this game is basically something that we all played in our childhood. That was connecting the dots. Now what I was thinking was how to make it. What we were thinking was how to make it into 3D. So what we did was we used bamboo. We gave it 4 slits. So while those slits they act like if I was doing it in 2D, I would just take a different color pen and draw a line from 2 dots. Here I'm wrapping the bamboo with the thread and then I'm connecting it to the other. So in that way I'll join a line. And when a team, that is a person, completes a square, that person wins. So it's just
a game that is situated to give something for more interaction.
So we planned our execution with the help of a calendar board. And while we were executing, we also added many points into this. As it was our first time making this standalone structure, we got to know a lot about what activities were lacking at the time of the planning itself. And I call this name to explain the story. So this was the software what we had done before starting the structure, and we had done after making the how much material is remaining after making the structure.
Further, we were supposed to create a DPI report in which we were about to show about the daily progression according to the schedule that we planned of the 14 days workshop, and also the failures that we faced, and also to know about the progress on individual level and the group level.
This is with the quantities that we made at the last day. So as we had this first frame made from two split bamboos, and then we made the main framework and then started weaving. So you can go down. Same page. So this was our final picture, Virya, which is inspired by the own independence of bamboo, that it doesn't really need a cube to support itself. Even though we were trying to give it a support it didn't need, and we learned a lesson about how versatile the material itself is. So I think the second group can start with the presentation.
This is able to the node and internode distance, the diameter of each of these species when they are horizontally, and these are the particular areas of each of these states, and the percentage of the area is covered by the diameter.
Take them through the analysis.
When we take the three or four states, then so starting with Andhra Pradesh, the pie chart shows the percentage that is covered by the bamboo plantations, and this is map which is represented by the plantations, and this is all the basic information about the states, and these are the scientific names of the species that are present, and the diagrams and the images represent of what they use, and the wall thickness, etc. And for each of the states for second. These two represent the node and internode distance in between the bamboos and the diameter of the bamboos. Some of the species are repeating in some of the states, so we'll just briefly skip through these. And not surprisingly, the state which has the largest amount of like ratio in between the bamboo plantation and geographical area covered is Assam. So the bamboo plantation covers about 56% of the area.
About the analysis that we did from this mapping was as Sairaj correctly said that we did an analysis on all the eastern states of India. So as we know that eastern state has a good rainfall and also it also has good soil. So Assam, Mizoram and Nagaland, these are the states which has 47 to 48% of bamboo plantation out of the total 100% of tree plantation in that state. Also, the best soil for bamboo plantation is alluvial, clay loamy and ancient soil. And also, Tetraphyllum grammaceae is also the strongest species of which is found in India, and it is mostly used in mining construction. So, talk about the project that we did now. The name of the project is Shaka. As Shaka is an Sanskrit name also, Before designing the whole structure, keeping the design and the whole concept aside, what is important is the site as well. So we did a proper analysis on the site itself and also various aspects like views, light, light direction was also taken under consideration. These are two consequences that we made. Talking about the process, so the major process, so what we did was the whole structure processes of various units. So these units are made by splitting the whole family into two parts and then later on splitting that single part into further two parts so that it has good flexibility in it. Also, what we did was firstly we marked the corner, as in we had that corner where we were supposed to make that installation, and we marked the corner with the help of whole bamboo so that it can give good rigidity to the whole structure. And what we did was we covered it with those units, as in those straight bamboos, so that we can get the tree-like structure. And we tied the whole thing with the help of ropes.
So explaining the design. The main idea of the design was the idea of the load, and how we were not exactly able to represent at the initial stage of the design was not to represent how it should be express the idea of growth with the help of this bamboo. So what we did was to unify everything. We just add the bamboos and let it flow like a tree. So that was the design idea. And to add was also to increase anonymity for bamboo as a material. So and we also made a shadow pavilion. So that represents the potential of bamboo and its future in the construction industry. Like it can be used to make styles hopefully in the future. And these are some of these are the elevations for the industry. And the site is located on a staircase landing. This is a plan showing the exactly place and the orange rectangles shows how the bamboo is like arranged. So the shadow falls on the left side of the so the shadow is
We had to try the numbers for making this right different options. Some of the middle gaps, but like it was expensive option, so we sort of discarded it and we tried the nylon strips. But structurally, it was not that good. Like the bamboos were falling apart. Then the jute rope was a good option, but aesthetically speaking, it was not looking good. So finally we used plastic zip ties. So that was the finalized material for tying up the bamboos. Then we tried, we had to stack up the bamboos for the weekend. So at first, we sort of just put the bamboos and then used what we say, a bamboo strip, tied them in a circular form. But they were falling apart. So we then took the whole bamboos, then we tied them together. Like in the after one, you can see, we tied them together using for the base, and then that was our stem for the day.
Also, also, the thing was what we initially did was after stacking all of the pieces, and then we tied it across and then
Coming on to the Gantt chart, we have basically six factors that were pre-designed, design, execution, site preparation, and the site closure and machine compilation. There was some sub-factors between them. So we noted them down and noted the timelines. Coming on, we had stock report from the initial days that how many members were used and what was the used and also the paints. Then coming on to the DPR report on the basis of what task they did. It is a report of 10 days on what we did and how much time we took and what percentage we were at the end. And this is like the report from our leaders. We write down the high level meeting.
So like I also use these are the case study models, and this is the dynamics, what we say site model, and this is the second group path forward site model.
Elective is one of the persons who did work in the area of bamboo. And he also established a bamboo studio at IIT Bombay. And he has done a lot of work bamboo in products, not in structures, but more of bamboo in products. And so he took bamboo as a craft and then molded that into products. So many batches of MBA students have taken projects about bamboo products. Nevertheless, he has spread this in the mostly in northeast as well as in now Gondwana, Chhattisgarh and that area. So he used to regularly have camps for artisans which were funded by the local governments. He also devised certain toolkits. Okay, so those toolkits were distributed to the artisans to make their life easier and create a better quality of product. So work experience is good. Plus, we have also done a lot of natural dyes for staining of bamboo. So when you work on bamboo at the craft level or craft product level, that area you are also work on the retaining and staining of the coloring of bamboo. So that is something which I experienced post graduation. Then I also became part of the Daily Bamboo Style. He has a studio called Daily Bamboo Style. Me and my classmates we worked after graduation and then bamboo products, particularly in the area of light fixtures and lamps were developed. So, and he had taken one lady entrepreneur from Karnataka, Nagamma, and one person from so they became part of Bamboo Studio and they used to help students at the same time develop products for some time. I also got associated with Mrs. Sanjeev Cafe from I come from Konkan, that is Indula Kular area. Sanjeev has done a wonderful work on track and now he's at international level. They are doing structures, they are doing products, and also working on ground. It has they have grown from one unit to 7 units in Gujarat, which is quite unusual. Normally in MIDC, small MIDC, the factory is closed down. Here is something that he has done wonders with the local artisans. Then structures in teams, which are working with IMBAR, which is a missing international body for bamboo and metals. So that's we have done a workshop with Sanjeev or Lisa in 2015. I shared those photographs. And recently in March 2019, I had the opportunity to do a workshop at Bali. That's a wonderful experience. I think whenever possible, you should have it. It's a totally transformative experience. It is not only the bamboo workshop, but the whole philosophy of green village, green school, and the way Ibuku is working on in terms of doing wonderful structures in Bali and around, as well as they are propagating this throughout the world. And in this workshop, we were 40 of us from 26. For 11 days, we worked as a family. And the way we work on projects like this, day and night work on it. So, work as a family and did wonderful projects. And then it was built on by subsequent batches. We designed the kitchen, and then it was we did the basic structure, the next batch the roofing, and the third batch did copper roofing of it. Now it's the new. So it's a very good idea that But quickly take you through my experience, bamboo you experience. I think somebody can do the. Yeah, so this is Marco. Yeah, this is a very good artisan. Actually, Bali had this even before. Bali has a multiple craft culture. The local artisans using a simple knife, they can do multiple joineries and techniques of bamboos. So is about that. We work on a lot of people. So actually, like the way you have gone through your listening, you were given training day on the bamboo plantation. Arif Rafiq. Arif Rafiq is a person whose mother started the bamboo movement in Indonesia and Paris. So she started in bamboo plantation in Tuesday. And after that, John Hardy and his family got it. John Hardy's family, that is Elora Hardy, uh, Orin, and now they have taken bamboo to a different level. So we went through the local species available in then application of those species, the instructors, furnitures, and products, how to harvest bamboo, how to recognize the age of bamboo. And bamboo is not just plantation, but you have also manage the plantation because otherwise it can become unmanageable. Because of the kind of this thing, fast growth, if it is not managed properly, then it can become a mess and become difficult for harvesting. So they gave us a concept of what is a grandmother, mother, daughter, and granddaughter. This kind of a concept bamboo they have. So which tells you which bamboo is to be harvested. They also do a marking in plantation, like they mark the same which is the grandmother, and then there's a way of recognizing if you go to a unmarked bulb in that area, you can figure out based on the leaf patterns, the kind of moss going over it, and recognize the age of the bamboo. And you can choose a bamboo, appropriate bamboo for harvesting. So age 4 onwards, the bamboo can be harvested for it's fully grown age 4 to 5. You can start harvesting, and every year you get a shoot. So that way, that concept of the grandmother you showcase maybe the granddaughter or the mom. So you decide which one to harvest. So we were taught we actually harvested a bamboo for our projects. Then after harvesting, we also did propagation because after you clean the bamboo, there are certain nodes you have the base and foundation you propagation. So we also did how to grow the listing. Now that you are thinking of planting bamboo, you can think about it. And instead of doing only one species, I think you should go for multiple species. After 4 years, your patch plants it, then I think final year you can harvest it. So the further patches can do the same. So you can go for different species, and it could be both educative as well as actually useful for the future patches to come. Always do plantations for future. Harvesting and propagation goes hand in hand. Then treatment of bamboo. So how to treat the bamboo. So they had the whole treatment plant at we would, so we went through that system. So parallelly, lots of things were going on. We used to work during the day, and the lectures used to happen during the late evening or night. So we did a distinct different process. Ali's picture I don't have, but this is a person also works on how to do the instrumental in greening of Asia. So I think we also should start that like the way we are thinking, how to because there are so many parts of lands actually, but it's so restoration of land, restoration of groundwater, as well as lots of there are people in India, even in Udal, there is a person called William Party who is in quite a good work in terms of bamboo plantation. So actually, you can think of bamboo as a complete business. It's a big business model, it's a lifestyle model. So right from plantation, selling them as tree plants, to again getting into production of various things. Uh, Not a single part of bamboo can go waste. Yeah, so like the way you did modeling, we also did modeling. So there were two types of scripts that we used. There was a square or round script, like something like this. So this can give you a structural distance amount of bending. Then there was a very thin script, which is particularly on the skin. So you can bend it. So this you can get it done in you can just backwards of the people who move in. So these kind of things were used for usually used for modeling. We use this Aerotech for sticking it together. It's very quick to just put it together. Yeah, so these are some of the models of projects handled by you. So I think after the presentation, we I cannot propagate this because that's the so these are the kind of models they did. So basically, modeling is very important in bamboo construction because that gives us an idea as to how the structure will be, how you are going to divide, and how you are going to place the various substructure and the roofing members. So I think it's really important, and I think you can see the beautiful geometry that it works out. Because sometimes the modeling of it now, the new softwares, it will be easier. But even before that, I think people have done modeling and then how to work projects. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the model of the kitchen that we built. Okay. So that was the sloping side. So we did a quick model and a quick caricature of the system, um, how that form will be. And we harvested, we even got those boulders from the river. So carrying those boulders by 50 so we did that. And then how to attach a bamboo to a boulder. An important part of bamboo is that it should not be embedded in soil. Okay, because then it starts rotting and this. There's a beautiful method where I just put a hole into the boulder, put a reinforcement rod through, and then put the bamboo. Actually, I found that they use the bamboo almost in its snack form. Okay, by that one back, we do a lot of straightening of bamboo and then shaping it, but it also becomes quite painstaking. Both methods are fine, I'm not saying right or wrong. But here you can separate this thing and you can use the bamboo in its natural form without it's like a board stroke of a painting. So this is how we did it. Um, yeah. So this is another product which is used quite a bit in Bali. And it's a U. They call it Lily Suckers. I think there's a book on that by Lily Suckers. So this front one is the one that we built. The other ones are system. So we can use them for shelters and even for emergency structures because it can be collapsed like an umbrella. It has a geometry and you can just have a video on it that we can share. So these are the various forms, the hyperbolic paraboloid and simple or simple one. And this can be shelter possibilities or form possibilities. we used to stay, for the 11 days, we used to stay in Hillsview. So that was the best location. That's what it's in the curriculum. The staircase and everything going up to the down to the street was not so it has view. Yeah, so this is part of my team, and this is Scott Wonderful. He is a product designer. Put his child in green school. He's from Yale. So then after the child got enrolled in green school, we decided to relocate him. So it's part of the mentors that run these workshops. And it's a wonderful person work with him. Yeah, this was a product that I had. So this is the rice serving bowl. And you see this is this part, the cover I removed from here. So this is again was a minimalist best. What I cut from here became that without which I did not document it. What I cut from here became a separate. What I cut from here also becomes a thing. Or it can become something to place. And there is a this thing, there is a scoop which I got because another product was big to carry. So this is the scoop that I had done. Again, when you use bamboo or any natural material, you respect every element. How you use the most. This is one part of it. You can everything need not be finished. Then rest of it, when you start cutting it and filleting it, then the bamboo brings a lot of any natural material patterns. So, if you take a top there, like this happens, keep the same like this. So, experience from this. Every time you handle the material, you are very sensitive of the every factor. So, don't look at bamboo as a very costly thing, as a beauty, and you can exploit that and create products. Yeah, so this is bamboo Ita. Bamboo Ita is a seven-star property. It's a seven-star property designed by Izuku. And a two of it and continuity factor. So if you look at it, they have used bamboo in various cases. They have used little boards, smaller bamboo for also used in bamboo which can be welded. This and various forms. So the ratings design of this is done by species, what they can do, can mold them. I think that is very important when you did not be messy. When you respect it, then I think you get some of them can be evolving on site so we can see actually what can be done. So this response. They also use this split bamboo for partitions. Sites. Yeah, so this is also part of bamboo India. This is a circular door, centrally. And then actually one of them is the outer room, as a toilet, and the other thing is the way for the pantry. The whole lifestyle at the including that bamboo India is different. It's a seven-star property. So they do not have a lawn. They instead of a lawn, they had a paddy field in their property. So they harvest most of the vegetables and products on there. They have their own products there. They also have space for the local farmers to come and sell their organic products. Yeah, so these are some of the different forms of the networks this part. Yeah. Further down they had yeah, so look at the beauty of the swamps they have. In this they have used copper roofing. Copper roofing. If I'm not mistaken, they use shingles. That is shingles. Yeah, they use copper a lot for for even for the generation of the studio they did the copper roofing of that. Yeah, so this is part of Green School. I think this is their auditorium. And again, because of bamboo, again there are no walls, hardly any walls. So constructed and the whole lifestyle with the experience. So this is a bridge. So this is a bridge over the same river that comes through the village. And I think on the first day we were served lunch on the bridge. So basically it's not a very wide bridge, but we are sitting at this side. Centrally, served at the same lunch. Where they are using, sorry. Yeah, roofing of that and bamboo shingles. Yeah, so this is one of the hostels. Here they have used bamboo as a ladder. It's scary, but it's very safe. This is for rainwater. This cutting off this part of it. Reinforcement or to clear that.